Welcome back to the dojo, my dojo. Hawk Sensei greets you. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're feeling good. It's holiday season. You know what I mean? Hope life is treating you well. Right? Before I forget, go ahead, like the video, share the video, subscribe, like it because I know you're going to like it, share because why not, and subscribe because you came back too many times not to push that button, right? So let's get into it. Men are from Mars and women are from Venus. Reason why I say this is because it's been said before. You know me. I like to hit you with them cliche sayings. You know what I mean? Because it's been said time and time again. I don't gotta beat a dead horse. It's already been beaten for me. You know what I mean? I don't condone animal cruelty. That's just a saying. Horses are lovely. I love horses. They're majestic as fuck. Alright, so look. I'm not exactly sure. But I believe Mars and Venus are separated by Earth. Now that I said that, I'm going to look it up because I got my handy dandy notebook over here. You know what I mean? Got my good old lackey top. Right? So we can be, what's the word? Knowledgeable. We don't have to be fools. Right? So I want to look at the solar system. The solar system. The solar system. Right? Let me get an image. Or a diagram, rather. I want to, yeah, there we go. That's what I'm looking for. Sun, Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars. Perfect. This is perfect. Because I knew it was the case. Alright, so in the solar system, starting with the sun, right? It's the sun, then there's Mercury, then there's Venus, the planet we're talking about women are from. Then there's Earth, followed by Mars. After Mars is Jupiter and all the bigger planets, right? But let me go ahead and put this laptop down because I just needed to get that as a reference point, right? So the reason why I believe they say that women are from Venus and men are from Mars is because there's a planet of difference between us. Venus is on the left side of Earth and Mars would be on the right side of Earth, depending on, which way you stand. But I'm looking at the sun being on my left-hand side, right? The sun being on my left, then Sun, Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, okay? Right. There's a planet of difference between men and women. We meet here on Earth, right? The way we communicate is completely different. We may use the same words, but what we mean or what we imply or suggest may be completely, totally different. Hawk Sensei, what are you saying? Don't worry about it. I'll get to it. All of what I'm saying is relevant, right? Women have an expectation of the opposite sex. Women have an expectation when it comes to men. It's also vice versa. The shoe also fits on the other foot. Men have an expectation when it comes to women. A woman is supposed to be like this. A woman is supposed to carry herself this type of way and that type of way. And women have a big ass laundry list of what a man should be and what he should have. Right? What we look for in the opposite sex is almost never the same thing. Right? We want the same thing, but we're going about it in two totally different manners. Here's the picture I really want you to paint. Because our mental faculties function completely different, where are we able to meet Where are we able to compromise? Where are we able to understand? Communication. That's where. You can communicate intellectually. You can communicate emotionally. Right? There's a way that you can express your point or the way that you feel in a logical sense or in an emotional sense, in an intellectual sense. Right? Men, more often than not, we like to express ourselves in a logical way. Women, what I see more often than not, y'all like to express yourselves in an emotional way. Both are effective in their own right. It is very strange for a man to express himself in a very emotional way. That can be very scary or disturbing when a man becomes overly emotional. Men and women alike will feel uncomfortable seeing a grown man cry. Because the way a grown man cries will be completely different the way a grown woman will cry. When a grown man cries, it's because he has reached his breaking point. He's reached his breaking point. Can't go back. There's no turning back. The world's over. And I'm going to start Armageddon. That's what it feels like when a grown man actually cries. He feels like the world is ending and he's ready to start Armageddon. That's why it's disturbing and uncomfortable to see a grown man cry. Because when a man becomes emotional, he may want to get violent. Because we don't usually use our emotions to express. You know what I mean? We usually use logic. And once a man throws logic all the way out the window, it's a recipe for disaster and chaos. Hence the reason why a woman is turned off by an emotional man. Right? That's why. It's dangerous. It's unpredictable. It's not stable. A man should be stable. Regardless of all this feminism and 4B, whatever, these same women are attracted to a stable, solid, rigid type of fella. Regardless of what they tell you. Another thing, like I said before, there's a world of communication between us. They may say it simply because it sounds good. Or simply because everybody else says it. Right? Women's survival is more based off of numbers. Having more people in a group that agree with you or support you. So a woman may shift and change her ideas and ideals to fit in with the crowd or the group. Because it's a survival thing. I don't want to be left out. I don't want to be an outcast. I have a better chance of survival when I have a group. When it's not just me. If I get pregnant, right, I want to have other women around me to advise and to assist me in that pregnancy. That's why it says it takes a village, right? So their whole perspective when it comes to interacting with people in a social sense, it has more importance than it would for a man. Because it's rooted and based in survival. Right? So that right there, you can clearly see that there's a difference in importance and value when it comes to connecting and bonding with other people. That's why women place more value on their emotional connections and their social connections. Right? They may be more so quantity as opposed to quality. I talked about that in another video. Right? And not only that, there's a lot more risk involved with women when it comes to dealing with the opposite sex. Pound for pound, we overpower them. You know what I mean? And like I said before, when a man loses all sense of logic, he gets emotional. And a lot of times that comes out in violence. Right? That's why it's good for you to always have your emotions in check, so you don't black out and lose your cool and do something you're going to regret. Right? Women sometimes will lie to you to protect their best interests. Of course, she may like you, she may be interested in you, but her survival and her best interest comes before you. Right? Knowing and understanding that, it makes it easier to understand why they may do things that you don't agree with or you may not understand. They're not playing the same game that you're playing. Right? This is why you can have a woman who is married or who has children by different men, right? You can have a woman have her entire life completely closed off and sealed from her children's eyes. She may not even know what really goes on between her and their father and whoever else might be in the picture. Alpha fucks beta bucks. That's a real thing. That's a real thing. Right? What men perceive and understand about love is completely different to what women perceive and understand about love. Right? The way that a man loves a woman is unconditionally. Because if it's not unconditional, we probably don't love her. Plain and simple. A woman will love a man based on how easy he can make her life for her. How comfortable her life could be when she begins to bear children. She thinks about these things. Right? Whether what she thinks about this man or his potential, whatever, is right or wrong, what she sees is what matters most to her. That's what's in her best interest, what she sees. Not what you see, not what you understand, not what you think. You know what I mean? It don't have nothing to do with you. Even if you're on the other end of this discussion. You're her significant other. Right? The way they love and interact is completely different from the way we do. When you gain this level of understanding about the planet size differences that we have when it comes to men and women, right? Once you begin to see and understand, not just recognize them, when you recognize them and understand their functions, right? It's easier to understand and to build and to grow and to share with them. First and foremost, remember that women are people. The same goes to you ladies. Remember that men, we are people. We don't function as much inside of emotion as you all do. So you may become upset or disappointed when you say something to us and we don't immediately react or respond in the way that you would like. It's because we're not functioning on an emotional wavelength. Because the logic in us is what gears us towards survival, right? Our emotions don't help us survive. It's our logic, our planning, our execution, our practice, our learning, our building is what helps us survive. It is your connections and your communications and your feelings and intuitions on the woman's side of the spectrum. Right? We communicate totally differently. We understand totally differently. We mean completely different things when we speak. The only way that we can have a common ground is if when a man speaks to you, women, and when a woman speaks to you, men, you need to begin to ask them, what do you mean? Because what you say and what you mean and or how somebody may interpret what you said can be lost in translation. It can be confusing. Because when I say something, right, you may receive it, digest it, and interpret it completely different or completely contrary to what I meant. You heard the exact words that I said, but you misinterpreted it. You didn't get what I meant when I said that. And that happens a lot between the sexes. A lot. So more often than not, we should ask each other, even among the same sex, well, what do you mean? What does that mean? Or if you're the one speaking, you can say, what did you hear? Or what did you get from what I said? That's another way you can bridge the gap to understanding. So when you ask them that and they tell you what they saw, what they understand, you can say, I see why you said that, or I see what you missed. Let me explain. Because now you have a better understanding of where they're at with what they see, with what you tried to show them. Maybe they only saw half the picture or a quarter. You know what I mean? Maybe it was a little blurry or fuzzy. Right? That's what I see when it comes to the opposite sex and us interacting with one another. Right? We are the same, but we are different. We function differently. We are human beings, but we function differently. Mentally, spiritually, emotionally. We function differently. Right? Reason why I wanted to bring this to you all's attention is because a lot of the issues that I believe we go through as men and women is because of our lack of understanding of the opposite sex. And the reason why we don't understand the opposite sex, right, is because we get all our advice and information from the same sex. Oh, but that is quickly changing. If you look at the landscape online when it comes to dating and relationships, men are learning very, very, very quickly. Very quickly. How women think and operate. And because we now have this new revelation about how women think and operate, we have adjusted ourselves more so than others. We have adjusted ourselves accordingly because now we understand completely how the game goes. We can see now if we're not the first choice. We can clearly see if we're being taken advantage of, if we're being taken for a ride. Me personally, I figured this out some years ago, right? But a lot of us are now being confronted with the harsh reality that women don't love us the same way that we love them. And that's okay, because it's all rooted in survival. A man can survive on his own, but I'm sure the experience will be much more enjoyable if you have a companion, right? And for a woman, right, survival is much more likely if you have companions, other women with you, a significant other, a man or whoever, or multiple, whatever. That's what I'm saying. And women also operate off of hypergamy because they're the ones that are going to be giving birth. They want to give birth to the best type of child that they can give birth to. And they would think that the genetics or the way that this man moves and operates, okay, he's the best one, right? Based off of what she can see or what she has heard. A lot of men don't really get the chance to show them what they're actually made of. You know what I mean? That's just how the game goes. Every man is not being checked for by all these girls out here. It's not happening. They're all checking for the same one or the same ones, right? Now that we as men, we see that and we know that. I always knew it, but whatever. Now you know not to waste your time. And women, now that you can see more so how men perceive you when you walk a certain way, talk a certain way, dress a certain way. You know what I mean? When you see how your female counterparts online are being treated en masse because of what they do, what they're into, what they post. You know what I mean? We're beginning to get a better understanding of one another. The planetary differences are beginning to collide and mesh, and we are able to gain an equilibrium and a greater understanding. And the ones who want to stay on the fence, the ones who want to still be at war with one another, y'all the ones that's not going to make it. Y'all the ones that's going to fall by the wayside. And the men and women who going to finally be able to get along and grow, and we going to be laughing and running off into the sunset while all y'all still over there fighting. So, with that being said, men from Mars, women from Venus, I told you this because I wanted to highlight the differences between the sexes, right? The communication, the understanding, and what you need to do moving forward if you want to build a relationship or build a bond with the opposite sex. I know that the dating climate nowadays is crazy, wild, insane, but it's not impossible to find somebody that you can grow, build, and achieve great things with. Build a family and a life, and build your own kingdom. It's still possible, right? But on the men's side of things, we're slowly getting to the point where it's starting to look like it's no point unless we're already in it. And a lot of us ain't in it, right? So ladies, if y'all want to get married, y'all really want to, you know what I'm saying? Stop putting all your business out there. Stop telling everybody what you doing on the weekends. Stop wearing all these revealing clothes. You know what I mean? A man wants a woman to be exclusive with. I don't want everybody else having access. You know what I mean? What good is a house if everybody on the block can come in and go as they please? Your body's a temple. Treat it that way. That being said, Hawk Sensei signing out. Professor Hawk bid you adieu. Let's expand, let's grow, let's go. Hope you're waking up every day with a smile on your face and waking up with a can-do attitude and a purpose. If you're not waking up with a purpose, at least you're waking up. Take care, guys. Till next time.